bad way to get things ready to go before heading over to Honolulu.
No, certainly you have to be a big boost of confidence about your limited game here. We did see last time she was pretty conservative on taking just a straight black-white deck. We'll see if she's equally conservative this time. And that's really a lot of players we watched. She wasn't even our most conservative drafter. Frank Karsten pretty much refusing to pick anything that wasn't monocolored with his first pick. And now we'll see her discipline put to the test here on this pack.
Yeah, this is really interesting, right? She opened up a copy of Savage Knuckleblade, an incredibly powerful card. There's also a Frontier Bivouac there, and there is a Chief of the Something, which is the Warrior Enabler. Now, Savage Knuckleblade, if you take that first pick, that means that you're basically working your way into being a 3-color deck. You see that's Chief of the Edge, which promotes a 2-color aggressive deck. So will she take the powerful rare? It's pretty hard to pass that up.
Yeah, and she does take it, and I'll be interested to see what she does with it here. So we've seen all these people draft conservatively, and I was going to say, if she'd taken Chief of the Edge, and she thought about it for a second, well, I'd be wondering if there would be someone at the table who would just kind of sponge up all these, really powerful cards like Savage Knuckleblade.
And don't forget, she did pass a copy of Frontier Bivouac in the pack. The chances of that tabling, I think, are very unlikely, but it certainly would be the perfect card to go along with that Savage Knuckleblade.
No, last time we saw her be very conservative about her mana base. Didn't want to do anything too wild with it. She'll be prioritizing mana fixing really high here.
See, there's an Empty of Pits in that pack. There's also a Mardu Charm here as well. See the Dragon's Eye Savant, great defensive creature that also does have Morph. There's a Longshot Squad, also a Timely Horde Mate as well. So what do you take to pair up with the Savage Knuckleblade? That's a very, very good question. We're going to figure it out as we go.
She's put a lot of the most powerful cards to the front. Horde Mate, probably on his own, is the best card here. The other two cards are on color with the Savants and the Longshot Squad. She goes with Longshot Squad, and originally I do think that's the most powerful card. The one thing I've seen about these teamer decks, or just these 4 or 5 color decks in general, is that they are hard pressed to perform to be defensive. And I think Dragon Eye Savants may be better than we at first thought.
Thornwood Falls brought forward very quickly. There's also a Snowhorn Rider, so teamer looking a little bit attractive here to Melissa.
Yeah, the Savage Knuckleblade committed her to teamer, or at least strongly encouraged it. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see what she does. Snowhorn Rider is another good reason to be playing teamer cards, but just how much 3-color can you take? When do you have to start taking these lands?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Do I take a land to make my deck work, or do I take Snowhorn Rider because it's so powerful? Snowhorn Rider is what she will take. So again, no mana fixing just yet past that Thornwood Falls. You don't know if that kind of card's going to table. You don't know the players at your table, how they value those lands, or even if they're in teamer at all. So move on to pack number 4.
I like that pick from her. You can get mana fixing late if you're willing to play banners, which is not exciting, but a card like Snowhorn Rider seems good enough to me that you can play some cards like banners to fill in the gaps between your Snowhorn Riders and your Savage Knuckleblades.
Incremental Growth is the card that's been brought forward here from Melissa, a card that was exquisite in its first format. Don't know how good it is in this one. It's clearly very powerful, putting 3+1/+1 counters on one creature, 2 on another, and a single one on a third creature. That's what it looks like she's going to take.
Card's a huge beating out of aggro decks. In the kind of deck that she looks to be drafting, I'm not positive how good it will be. Certainly, it would help her if she takes some of these 1/1 counter creatures stuff. She already has a Longshot Squad. Maybe you'd want a Tusk Guard Captain or something similar to go with it.
Skullkin is what she has brought forward here. There's also a Dragon Scale Boon. You can see the Aeonach Tracker as well. So some real options here for Melissa. She does go through the pack and picking up this information about the cards that she is passing, trying to figure out what is being signaled here, but she will select the Skullkin, the 2/2 flyer that, of course, can sacrifice itself to deal 2 damage to a creature or player.
Yeah, one thing you want to note when she's drafting teamer is that she'll most likely be trying to center herself in 2 of the 3 colors.
Matthias, that feels like a signal to me. You see Awaken the Bear, but there's Teamer Ascendancy, and it makes you wonder, how good is this card? If you play this on turn number 3, losing seems pretty difficult. All your creatures will have haste, and of course, when you play a creature with power 4 or greater, you get to draw a card.
Yeah, it's shows how people are drafting this format that Teamer Ascendancy went this late. And even on top of that, there was a copy of Master the Way. That's a very high pick. I mean, Teamer Ascendancy this early allows Melissa to really draft a deck around it. She can prioritize things like Alpine Grizzlies ahead of a normal morph. Normally you'd want something like Glacial Stalker, but I think she has enough time to make this card be a bomb in her deck.
Monastery Flock and Sago Archer is what she's deciding between right now. She's going to go with the Sago Archer. Both of those things are going to give her some stability against the air. So very nice cards for her to see there. See Abomination of Gadul to lead things off here. There is a Treasure Cruise that she brings forward very, very quickly. Now, again, I would be very surprised if in her original pack she sees that Frontier Bivouac staring back at her. But that is a best-case scenario that could still be possible.
Yeah, so Melissa has really shored up the power level of her deck in this first pack. These later picks, while giving her good cards, aren't forming a complete deck right now. If you think about her curve, she's really starting at 3 with just a Morph. So she's going to have to prioritize some mana fixing, some early cards, maybe Highland Games later on in these packs, but she has a shell to build around at the very least.
And take the Barrage of Boulders there. Good sideboard card, could be a good main deck card depending on how she thinks things are going, and she will pick up this pack here.
Yeah, and you see Melissa identifying this weakness. First card she looks at, Wetland Sandbar. There was one card of each color, but really no interest in the others.
Just a boring old 2/1 textless creature there, but she will select that. Has to fill out the curve, of course. Wants to be able to interact early in the game, so she plays against one of those aggressive decks, so she will pick up this pack.
Yeah, be interesting to see if she can play something like Tygom's Scheming. She's passed on 2 copies of Feed the Clans, and that's actually a card I want to point out here. It's the pure life gain spell in the set. Typically not something you're interested in. It might be something she could play out of the sideboard. If she ends up with enough ferocity in her deck, it does gain 10 life for 2 mana, which is almost at the conversion rate where you're okay playing some of these in your draft deck.
So I pick a Cancel. She'll also pick a copy of Stubborn Denial there. Last card, hopefully we get a small look at it, and it's just a Guided Strike, so nothing too crazy there. And now it's time to take a look at these cards. Snowhorn Rider and Savage Knuckleblade, the best of the bunch. You also see Teamer Ascendancy as well, so we know what direction she's going in. And let's not forget one thing here. The land, she doesn't have any just yet. Opened up a Frontier Bivouac with the Savage Knuckleblade that predictably did not wheel, and that Thornwood Falls that she could have taken over the Snowhorn Rider, that didn't come back either. So we'll see if she prioritizes lands in this second pack.
Well, if you look at what she's doing here, one thing you'll notice is that outside of those 3 gold cards, Melissa doesn't have any red in this stack. And the cards she knows she wants to play, they're the low drops, the Wetland Sandbar. Then the 3s, you have your Snowhorn Rider, your Teamer Ascendancy. So cards like that will be powerful, but yeah, you want to stay in 2 colors, and she's going to have to prioritize some of the more boring cards in these next packs.
Pack number 2 is where we were headed after the review period here. We'll see what she's able to open up this go-around. She's off to a really, really nice start. As you mentioned, she is base blue-green at this point, and that is a very nice-looking Ice Feather Aven for her deck. There's a Snowhorn Rider there as well. I think we passed by the blue-green dual land there in Thornwood Falls. It's hard to pass up on an Ice Feather Aven. You also see she's looking at an Arc Lightning too, so this is a very, very good pack.
Pack is full of a lot of strong cards here, so Ice Feather Aven and Arc Lightning are both definitely first pick as far as how powerful they are. I imagine we'll see her lean toward Ice Feather Aven because her deck is already blue-green, and because she doesn't have any mana fixing yet, she does need to be kind of conservative here.
Certainly doesn't hurt that card is quite good.
Yeah, it's hardly a downgrade at all from Arc Lightning if it is even the worst card.
Pick number 2 of pack 2 coming up here for DeTora. Her deck is off to a very, very nice start. Again, needs that mana fixing. Can't forget about that Thornwood Falls that is in that pack. Don't know if that's going to wheel. Didn't see the other one, but there's a Bear's Companion and a Swiftwater Cliff. So again, she's got to have this decision, right, of do I want to take a really, really good card for my deck or do I want to hit the land? Bear's Companion is such a great card in Teamer.
Bear's Companion's a great card, and you hit the dilemma right here. You do want these powerful cards, and this is just too good to be passed up. Lands can come later, at least for now. There are 3 lands that she can take, so the powerful cards are harder to find. She'll take at least 1 more, maybe even a second Teamer card before she just starts putting lands over everything.
The power level of her deck is pretty high. We know that thus far, what she's taken. She just needs the ability to cast her spells. And she can do that with some lands. She's going to be in a very, very good place here as we work our way into the 3rd pick of this pack. See Dragon Scale Boon there. No lands and not a banner that's in her color, it looks like. Aerostorm is pretty powerful, but that is a double red spell in her deck.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see her take something like Scout the Borders here. You see she's looking at Dragon Scale Boon. Scout can be a really poor mana fixing when you need it. I don't know if she has time for that. It might just be Canyon Lurkers.
Aerostorm is the card that's in the front right now, so we'll see if she does want to select that one, and she will. So now the mana is getting a little bit more difficult here, because now she's taking a spell that has double red in the casting cost. Before, she was just working on singular red cards. Aerostorm might be powerful, of course, but the mana is getting a little bit hairy for her.
Yeah, I'm not sure she'll be able to play that card. And looking at her next picks here, she has other reasons to further be pushed toward the green-blue side of the deck. Nonetheless, Aerostorm's a pretty good hedge. It's definitely the most powerful card in that pack. And if she ends up in a heavier red teamer deck, she'll be happy to have one.
Snowhorn Rider coming around late there. There's also a Smoke Teller here as well, so let's see if she wants the 2-drop or if she wants the powerful more. She will go with the 2-drop so that she can interact early with her opponents. Getting the ball rolling early and often in her deck. Snowhorn Rider is very powerful, but Smoke Teller is the very, very good card as well. Just to fill out the curve, I think is important.
Yeah, you see her finally going on the side of consistency here. Snowhorn Rider's a great card. One she's really willing to pick early on. Smoke Teller fills out the curve. She'll go for that instead.
Might be able to take another Smoke Teller here as well. You see there's a Sultai Charm hanging out there. There's also a Rakshasa Death Dealer. That card's very, very powerful, but clearly a card that she cannot play at this point.
Yeah, there have been some signals here that Sultai is very open from her left. Like you saw there, Rakshasa Death Dealer and Sultai Charm are both very high picks, and even the cards surrounding them, the Sidisi's Pets and the such, there are a lot of good cards in those colors. Kintry Invocation is in this pack. That's actually a card that you can first pick in the Sultai deck. So she's got most of her colors right as to where she should, quote-unquote, naturally be, but maybe instead of red, it should have been black. That's something you can't control, though.
Yeah, it's tough to say. She's going to take the Kintry Invocation here, so...
Yeah, not sure she'll be able to play it. She's a little strapped for picks right now because there's just nothing in Teamer.
Oh, there's a Teamer card. There is a Teamer card as well. You see a Teamer Charm and another copy of Snowhorn Rider. So we see that Teamer is pretty open at this point.
Yeah, how much
the charm?
How much 3-color can you have before you take mana fixing?
Yeah, and she hasn't seen any mana fixing in the past couple of picks too. And again, this is going to be a dicey situation where, again, she doesn't have a non-basic land to help with these colors just yet. So this is a little bit scary for her at this point. If she sees any land, I think she's going to take it over anything, almost certainly at this point. There's a Rugged Highlands. That's a start.
Yeah, I can't imagine she'll take anything over this Highlands. Even as during the last pack, that was the first time she'd seen any Teamer mana fixing. It was a Teamer banner, but you can't reasonably take that over Snowhorn Rider or Teamer Charm.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that'd be very, very difficult to do. The banner's just, they fix the mana so late.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, with how many gold cards she has right now and the power level of her cards, I think it's very reasonable for her to be playing a 1 or 2 Teamer banners just to help her. Like, if you're playing this many gold cards, you need X green sources, Y red sources, and Z blue sources. And to get to that number, you may need to play a couple banners. And that could be fine because her good cards carry her back into the game by so much.
Snowhorn Rider, the selection there. You see Disdainful Stroke is going to be taken here as well with the next pick. Scary territory here still yet again with the mana fixing. One thing to note from not this pack but the previous one is that the Mardu Rough Rider was still in the pack, which means that Mardu looks to be wide open as well.
Yeah, Mardu could be open, so we haven't actually seen any white at all in these packs, which make me think Melissa's got 2 white drafters to her left. It might be that whoever's playing would be the person who could play Mardu Rough Rider took a more conservative approach in that pack. One thing that can happen in Khans of Tarkir drafting is if someone who is maybe the Mardu deck goes more conservatively, you can see a card like Mardu Rough Rider just go around and around the table because nobody actually is able to play it.
A couple of filler cards here and some sideboard action with a Shatter and stuff like that. Cards that don't really matter all that much, as Melissa will do a pack review here. She'll add some more powerful cards as far as curve is concerned at this point. You see 2 Smoke Tellers, the Bear's Companion, the Teamer Charm, another copy of Snowhorn Rider as well. So some nice stuff here for her, but she needs the mana to be able to cast these spells. That's the dangerous thing at this point.
I mean, if you look at the cards that are just the full-on Teamer trio of colors, she has a Bear's Companion, a Savage Knuckleblade, 2 Snowhorn Riders, a Teamer Ascendancy, a Teamer Charm. She's building herself a Teamer theme deck here.
I mean, absolutely. And those gold cards are incredibly powerful, but if you can't cast them on time, they are a lot less good. She does have a Rugged Highlands. You see that there at the front. But she needs a Thorn Thornfall, excuse me, the green-blue dual land. The name is escaping me. It's so difficult to say these card names sometimes. I apologize.
Yeah, she could use a Thornwood Falls.
Thank you. Thornwood. I always want to say Thorn Wild Falls for some reason. But yes, a Thornwood Falls. She could certainly use that card. She could use a Frontier Bivouac. Somehow that's an easier one to say. I don't know how, but that is the case. I honestly believe that, in this situation where we saw her take the uncommons over the lands, I think it's going to be the flip this go around, where if she opens up a land with maybe a Bear's Companion, it'll be time to take that land, mostly because I think it's realistic for maybe a Bear's Companion to wheel here in these packs, because she looks to be alone in Teamer.
Yeah, going to be tested right away at the beginning here, actually. There's a Swiftwater Cliffs. There's a Keru Spell Snatcher as the rare in the pack. That's a very powerful rare, if you're not familiar with it. It is a 3/3 for 4 on the surface that can flip over to steal a spell, much like the card Spelljack. You can play it at any time later for free. This is a really powerful weapon, and it's a morph, so it could go in her deck. How badly does she need the lands? How good is this rare?
I think she has to take the land over the rare. Myself, personally, if I'm in her situation, I'm taking the land. Rares are obviously very attractive, but I want to be able to cast my spells. Will she take the land or the rare? That is the question right now. She gives this pack a very, very long look, and she's going to go with the rare.
Yeah, I agree with this pick. As much as the land is tempting, blue is one of her main colors, and Keru Spell Snatcher is a 3/3 for 4 just in blue. So you can just play it as a face-up creature and have it be fine.
Wooded Foothills is a fun way to fix the mana and take some money with you. So not a bad card to pick up here.
And this is going to pain a lot of people who like money drafting their rares.
Yep.
Thornwood Falls is a better mana fixer than Wooded Foothills in her deck. So I would imagine if she's just drafting to win this, I think, and wants to draft a land, I think the right one is actually the Falls.
I would take the Foothills so fast.
It still means you get to walk home with the Foothills.
Yes! Walking way up even more money this weekend. I love it.
Wooded Foothills is the second pick for her there. And lands are just her highest priority right now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. See what she's able to find here in pack number 3. Embodiment of Spring. That's some mana fixing. Secret Plans is a very, very powerful card. Not sure if she's in that deck right now, though. See an Arrow Storm there, but that's not going to be a card she's looking to take. I'm not a big fan of Embodiment of Spring, but Desperate Times, Desperate Measures, when you need mana fixing, it's an option available to you in a Teamer deck.
So her morph count isn't terrible right now. She has 2 Snowhorn Riders, a Sagu Archers, a Keru Spell Snatcher.
I also got that Ice Feather Even as well.
Ice Feather Aven, at least 5. It's an interesting thought. That card, when I've seen it in heavy morph decks, is very powerful.
Yeah, I like taking Embodiment of Spring there. It's not something I'm excited about, but again, just the ability to cast your spells. Your spells are so powerful. I feel like the ways that she can lose right now are just the inability to cast them. You do see the Alpine Grizzly. Quite a nice card there. See if she finds a land for her deck. She does not. Though, again, I do like Alpine Grizzly quite a lot. Turns on Ferocious all by itself.
Yeah, Riverwheel Aerialist, a powerful blue card, but not one that I think she's looking for. I think you're right. She has established that her main color is blue, her secondary color is green, and that red is a light splash. That said, she has her powerful cards at the top end of the curve. She doesn't need Riverwheel Aerialists. Alpine Grizzly, great with Teamer Ascendancy, and good curve filler.
Time to look at another one. You see Awaken the Bear. There's also a Windscarred Crag there. Crippling Chill. Also Force Way. That one's probably hard to pass.
Yeah, she's a little light on removal. Or ways right now. She does have a Teamer Charm, but she passed an earlier Savage Punch so that she could take a land. I think Force Way is a pretty good addition to her deck.
I would want Force Way in my deck here. I mean, she's got a lot of big creatures, obviously. And draw, discard. Maybe they can fix the mana, getting to see another card as well. I'm just a big fan of that as a combat trick in this format. Monastery Flock, Highland Game, Bloodstained Mire. Okay, I know what I would take.
It's only a top 8 draft where you get to see Bloodstained Mire's going 7th.
I know what I would take. There's a Savage Punch, though. That's a really good removal spell.
It is good removal for her deck. She's got a lot of ways to turn on Ferocious. I think that's a pretty clear pick for her. Pack 1, she got a great pack, and pack 3 is good again. She's getting a lot of high priority picks. The one weakness is she's not getting the mana fixing.
Yeah, I mean, she's just by herself in this draft. That's the one thing, is she is just Teamer all alone. So as a result, she's going to get a lot of really, really nice cards here. Again, she's just looking for more lands that are going to work to her favor at this point. You see there's an Archer's Parapet here. There's a Treasure Cruise. There's also a Sagu Archers. Wouldn't be surprised to see her take Sagu Archers with this pick. Treasure Cruise is a pretty nice card, but she's not a delve deck. A lot of her cards I don't think are going to be in the graveyard in this circumstance, so we'll see what she elects to take. It looks like she's going to go on the cruise.
That's very surprising to me. It's a second Treasure Cruise for her. I was actually wondering whether you'd see her take something as simple as the Archer's Parapet, even though she plays no green. It's just a 2/05 for 2.
See the Kiltrine Wanderer, no land there. There's another copy of Arrow Storm. She's got one of those already. There's a Teamer Banner. It'd be hard-pressed to pass this one up. Burnaway is really powerful too, but she is going to go with the Teamer Banner.
Yeah, especially with that second Treasure Cruise. I don't think she takes it there unless she's seriously contemplating playing second Treasure Cruise. If she wants to have that much card draw, Teamer Banner is going to be great for her deck.
See Dragon's Grip among all the other cards here. There's also a Tusked Colossedon. That's a fun one to say. Somehow I can always get that one right.
Yeah, she's going to take that one. I don't know if we're picking for the sideboard right now. I think she's got plenty of playables.
Stubborn Denial. She's already got one of those in her sideboard. You see there's a Jeskai Wind Scout. That can help fill out the curve as far as 3 mana is concerned. She will select that card.
Jeskai Wind Scout's in a very interesting position in this format. In a format with morphs, it's hard to play a 3-drop that doesn't scale as hard into the late game. But you know, in any other format, Jeskai Wind Scout would be in contention for best common in its color. You really wouldn't expect to see it this late. And even though she's not a prowess deck, this could find a home just at the 3-mana spot on her curve.
Finishing up these last couple of picks here, you do see the Whirlwind of Depth. She's going to select that one. 2 cards to go here for Melissa. Don't forget, we do have another draft to cover here. Another one of the players in the top 8, Harry Corvasi. He ends up getting an invite back to the Pro Tour, so congratulations to him, as Melissa will select a banner. One last card coming. And as we do see the last card added to her draft, Matthias, scale of 1 to 10, how do we feel about Melissa's deck?
All right, well, want to rate it on 3 things. So power level, curve, and consistency. Power level, I think she's doing great. I would give her, you know, a plus score on that one if we're going to say it's above average on power level. She's got a bunch of great rares. Savage Knuckleblade, in addition to Teamer Ascendancy in a Teamer Shell, seems pretty powerful. So I'm glad, like where she is there. As far as her curve, I think she was pretty attentive to it. She's got a lot of 2-drops. She has Ice Feather Aven, Embodiment of Spring. She has a lot of morphs. And the morphs can be cast in the early game and scale into the late game. So she has great early game and she can play in the late game. I think curve is good, not great. The one concern is consistency. She did go toward that in the end by really minimizing the amount of red in her